folks. Welcome to another episode of Ferrum Wrestling 411. I'm your host, Gary Holden. With me is our women's wrestling head coach on an interim basis, Ryan Riggs. He's also an assistant with the men's program. And our new assistant wrestling coach on the men's side, Paul Biggs. Fellas, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to Ferrum. Paul, welcome back to you.
Absolutely.
Ryan, I'd like to start by maybe having you introduce yourself to the fans. Let them know a little bit about yourself, where you wrestled in high school, college, and what you've been doing.
Yeah, I grew up in Northeast Ohio, wrestled at Madison Perry, and then collegiately at Cleveland State University.
Okay.
And I've been a college coach 5 years, and the last couple of years I was working at the Riggs Elite Wrestling Club, helping out there.
Now, that's your father's club, right? I know he was a high school wrestling coach for a long time, including your high school coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he started a club. He retired last year, started the Riggs Elite Wrestling Club, and he's got a lot of tough guys coming through there.
And you're from a big wrestling family. Your dad was a wrestling coach. Your brother is a wrestling coach at a college right now, and your sister helps out with the club back at home and everything?
Yep. Yeah, so growing up was fun with the wrestling family. My dad wrestled University of Arizona, and my brother wrestled Penn State, and he's now the head men's assistant at American University.
Your parents probably kept a couple furniture companies in business, huh?
They did, yeah. Some good stories.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we're really glad to have you here and everything. I'm excited about you taking over the women's program and still, double dipping and helping with the men's program as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. Paul, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you're a former Ferrum wrestler. I want to hear about a little bit of your background coming through from high school and everything.
Right, I'm from Eden, North Carolina, and my high school just won a state title down in North Carolina. I was from Moorhead, and they're pretty big right now. They're still rebuilding their program because a lot of seniors did leave. But then I come here my freshman year and stayed all 4 years, competed, just had a little bit of success, and I wanted to be back part of the program, and here I am.
Folks, we're going to tell you a little bit about that success. Paul had one of the best records ever. He's the first wrestler to go through 4 years of the program, including the first 3 years of our varsity program. Qualified for the NCAA tournament last year as a senior, which every college wrestler, wants to be able to have that on his resume. I was match side and watched Paul's semifinal match. He took a guy down with 6 seconds remaining to win the match and go to the NCAAs, and it was pretty darn exciting. I almost dropped my camera right when it happened, so it was pretty cool. So he's a little bit modest and he won't tell you all that, so I'll tell it for him. So, Paul, moving into the role as the assistant wrestling coach now, do you see any concerns or any type of things that you're looking forward to, challenges with going from a wrestler to a coach?
I'm looking forward to kind of teaching the guys how to compete harder, and just kind of staying in the match and just doing all they can do, doing everything in their power to win the match. There's a lot of uncertainties, so do everything you can do to prepare and just execute. And that's what we train for every day, on and off the mat, just execute.
Well, you were one of the leaders on the mat last year, and I suspect at some point in time you were kind of like a coach on the mat to the guys, so I suspect it's going to be an easy transition for you.
Right, but the hardest transition is maybe the boundaries as far as a coach. I can't be a best friend right now. There are things I need them to do, and they're going to have to look at me as a coach in a sense. So, it won't be like, hey, your best friend's telling you to do this. It'll be more like, an authoritative figure, and we just got to all get used to that, and kind of just got to, test your limits and make sure you don't go overboard and get, power hungry, I suppose.
I think you'll like the other side of the whistle. I really do.
Hope so.
Yeah. Ryan, tell me a little bit about the women's program. We're only a second-year program. Tell me what you guys have planned for this year as far as roster size, number of competitions, where you guys will be going for some of your competitions.
Yes, we have 23 incoming freshmen, so we're excited. We'll have a large group, and we'll be a family, and work on the competition schedule, finalizing that now. Most of the tournaments are in place, and work on getting some dual meets.
23 incoming, and you have at least one back from last year, so you're going to go from having a roster of 2, which was the smallest women's roster of all sports teams, to 23, 24. That's going to be the largest, probably about the largest women's roster we'll have, so well, it must be pretty exciting for you.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, and you've been thrown right into this. A lot of people don't know Ryan was hired just a few weeks ago by Nate Yetzer, our head wrestling coach, to be the men's assistant. And shortly thereafter, we found out that our women's coach wasn't coming back, and Ryan was offered the position, and he accepted it. And it's got to be a little daunting for you to all of a sudden come in and change roles like that.
Yeah, it was surprising, but I'm excited. I'm ready for the challenge and more responsibility. And with my background in freestyle wrestling, I'm definitely excited to work with the women because they wrestle just freestyle, so the Olympic style. And Helen just won the gold medal for the U.S., and so there's a lot of good things going on in women's wrestling right now.
Yeah, well, we're real excited about seeing how that's going to translate for us into some success. lot of students. We never got to see the women wrestle last year. They had so few competitions, and I don't know if they'll be able to be on campus this year at all, but I think when the students do get this chance to see them, that they will definitely support them.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Good, good. Well, Paul, talk a little bit about the men's schedule this year. I know that we're still going to the regionals, hopefully sending some kids to the nationals. Any big benchmark matches for us on the schedule?
As a team-wise, yes, we will be heading down to Nashville, Tennessee once again, I do believe, and that's really one of our big benchmarks as far as a team-wise, to kind of test and push those limits, kind of.
Is that the Gator
It's the Gator Boot duels,
Okay.
yes. It kind of brings us together, and just kind of work for each other as a team. And then we go to Chicago at the Pete Wilson, and that's more of a personal benchmark right before regionals, kind of to show you where you're at, where you need to be by the end of the year. If you're not doing what you're supposed to, you need to make changes. And if you are successful, then just keep doing what you're doing and keep grinding.
And that's a tournament where you guys will see a lot of Midwestern schools. I know we
Right.
ran up against a lot of ranked wrestlers at that tournament last year.
Absolutely. Usually the top 5, top 8 guys are one of the best in the country, and they're there to wrestle. You got to bring everything you got.
Good. Ryan, I imagine that some of the competition that we'll go to early in the season, you will see some ranked opponents and give some of our ladies an opportunity to knock off some big wrestlers.
Yeah, we start off October 15th, the Emmanuel Open, and then the Patriot Duels will be a lot of tough competition there.
And we were at that tournament last year. That's the one down in University of Cumberland, is it?
Correct. Yeah.
Correct. Okay. Great. Well, we're real excited about both of you being here and everything. And I assume you're both settling into your roles here as the assistant men's coach and the head women's coach now.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. Well, we'll come back in a couple weeks and everything. Probably have some of the wrestlers on, get Coach Yetzer back on here and everything, and start the season off. School starts in about 2 weeks now, right?
Yep. Yeah, definitely looking forward to get going.
Good. Good. Well, folks, that's all for the show today. I want to thank our two guests for being here with us, and we will be back with the next issue of Ferrum Wrestling 411 in a couple weeks. Thanks for being with us, and have a great day.